Hi there. Welcome to Storytime. Storytime is where we come together and I share the tapestry of my being. I pull stories from the before time, before cancer. And today we're going to return to Paris. The story I am going to share with you, by all means, belongs in a fantasy world. It is one of the most exquisite, beautiful days of my life. Now, if you remember, in our first story time, I shared with you my very first time going to Paris. And I had put off Paris for many, many years. I love to travel, been around the world, but have not gone to Paris. And the reason is I wanted to go to Paris when I was grown. I wanted to have the wallet to match my interests. You know, I backpacked throughout Asia, hiked through the Middle East. We've gone all around the world, but Paris seems so special. And I truly had the most amazing experience that first time in Paris. And the thing is, for me, I don't usually go back. That's something you need to know about me. I love to put both feet in, have the crush whatever experience it is, be totally engaged, absorb everything. Because I'm not going to return. There's so many amazing places in this world that I just wanted to keep moving forward to see the next place. So returning to something, it's not me. But in this case, it is literally 10 years later. It's a decade later, and I have an opportunity to go to Paris because my wife, she's going to a conference in Paris for a week, staying at the Four Seasons. It's right down the road from the Louvre, right outside the Champs-Élysées. So of course I'm going to go. Why wouldn't I? Well, in preparing for this, I reach out to my friend Alana, she was brought into our life via our friend Jeff. He found his dream girl and he married her. Well, Alana and I became fast friends the minute we met. We started going to dance classes together, dinner. We both love to explore. We're both crazy energy. We just hit it off. So I reached out to her and said, hey, Jeff's going to this conference. Are you? She was like, yeah, girl, it's Paris. So, all right, let's do this. Now, she does share with me that she's bringing her best friend is going to travel along with her and enjoy Paris with her, right? And she asked us that, okay, in our plans that we make together, is it okay that my friend Laura is involved? Of course, sure, why not? Now, of course, I have a little thing in the back of my mind that's like, I haven't traveled with Alana yet, so I'm not sure if we're going to make great travel partners. I feel like we are. And now we've got the complexity of her friend in here, but oh heck, it'll all be good, right? No worries. Let's just go for it. Well, in planning out what our week was going to be, we decided that we were going to spend at least one day together, and we were going to make it be a dream day. This friend of hers, Laura, happened to be in the wine industry, knowing folks in the wine industry. And so she asked us, hey, would you guys be interested in a private tour of a wonderful small family producer in Champagne? It's a producer, it's a wine we can't even taste here because it doesn't leave France. Of course we would. That sounds lovely. I've never been to Champagne. To go to a wine tour of someone's family vineyard? Sure, of course, great, let's do this. So that becomes the basis of planning this day. This day, we've decided that we're going to leave Paris, we're going to go to Champagne, we're going to do this little chore thing. We're not sure exactly what it is. Have lunch, come back. Beautiful day. So we start planning it. My friend Alana says, hey, I've looked at the train schedule and we can take the train like mid-morning. We get out there, we can hit this place, go to lunch, and then, we don't have much time. The train schedule constraints are there. It's, we have to return by 2, blah, 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 blah. And I cut her off. I said, wait a minute. Why are we trying to squeeze in and make this day be, I don't want to think about anything. I don't want to be stressed by time or anything. So let's just hire black car service. Let's hire a driver to pick us up at our hotel in the morning, take us to Champaign and anywhere else that we want to go, so that we can simply enjoy whatever experience we're about to have, because we're grown. I'm returning to Paris grown, and I want to have the experience of a lifetime. So we're like, okay, let's do this. So we hire a black car driver who picks us up in the morning and drives us. We're sleeping. It's like 5, 6 o'clock in the morning. We're sleeping on our way out there. It's a very short drive. I don't know, 2 hours, something like that. I was sleeping. I don't remember. But I remember waking up to this just beautiful architecture, quaint little village of Champaign. Driving up this little road, and we stop in front of it. Again, it's like a movie. The architecture was just so cool. We pull up in front of this building. Now it's morning time and it's pretty dead. Like everything's kind of shut down, and we hope we're in the right place to meet with this young man who's going to show us his family vineyard. And we knock on the door and nothing happens. And so we're waiting outside and we're thinking, are we in the right place? What do we do? Next thing we know, this guy pops out of a little window, bonjour, and he's the most adorable little dude that waving at us. We know we're in the right place. Well, this particular vineyard, turns out that it is I think second generation or third generation. This gentleman happened to marry into the family, so it's his wife's family wine. We had the most wonderful experience with him. He shared with us the history of his land, the history of the wine they're making, the history of the family. We did tours through the underground tunnels of where they store the wines, and we sat in his beautiful country house, tasting wines and chatting, and I believe he was a PhD student in Paris, and his wife, and it was just wonderful. It was just wonderful. Spent the morning sipping champagne, and in return, we bought as much as we could possibly buy to ship back to the States as a thank you for spending his time with us. And we say goodbye to him, and we jump in the car because it's time for lunch. Our driver starts going. Now we're buzzed from the champagne. We're buzzed from the beauty of the day, the stories he was telling. We're so driving around through the countryside, and we come to the place that we're going to have lunch. Now, with all things, as you know, I don't really like to be the one making plans. I like to have the experience. I had no idea where we were going for lunch. My friends, I let them choose it. I was just along for the ride. Well, when we pulled up in front of this beautiful little building and in the middle of the countryside, our driver lets us out, and we had told him that this was going to be an hour for lunch, and then we had one more vineyard that we were going to go to. But as we pulled in front of this place, I saw the symbol on the door that indicated that this was a Chateau Relais property. If you remember from our first story time together, my wife introduced me to Relais Chateau properties for the very first time when she had us stay at that amazing castle. Well, as soon as I saw that, I thought, oh, this lunch is not going to take an hour. This is a 3-hour lunch. These ladies do not know the experience they are about to have. So they walk in the door. I turn around to the driver and I say, hey, this is not going to be an hour. He's like, yeah, I was wondering what you guys were thinking. I'm like, oh, they just don't know. Can you call ahead to the next place that we're going and see if you could reschedule that? Because I want us to, like, we're not rushing this. We are going to have this experience. He says, great. I'm like, great. I walk in. Now, this is everything that you imagine when you walk into this place. I mean, the paintings and the gold and the sculpture artifacts, and it's just so much beauty, silk wallpaper, and they sit us down and pour a glass of champagne and serve us in a amuse-bouche in this front room, and then they take us to the dining room, which is all windows overlooking the vines of the wine, and as I thought, being a Château Rouleau property, that this lunch is going to be 3 hours, and it is going to be exquisite. This is Michelin star amazing food, and it was. We were blown away. I mean, dish after dish was coming out, and the wines that they paired with it, we were just absolutely laughing, enjoying ourselves, telling stories. This friend of hers, Laura, turned out to be the most wonderful travel companion, hilarious and up for anything, and the three of us were really, really gelling. It was really cool. And they got nervous about the time, and I explained to them, don't worry, I already talked to the driver. It's all taken care of. Let's just enjoy. And we did. And we wrap up that lunch, and we go out to the driver, and he explains, I'm so sorry, the next experience that you had planned, they were not able to accommodate the change in time. No, okay. No big deal. You know, we'll head back to Paris. And he says, no. If you'd like, I can take you to Moët Chandon. Moët Chandon. We can take you to the Moët Chandon property. And I was kind of like, even Moët Chandon, it's not that interesting, But really, of course, let's go. This will be great. So happy that we did this. The history of this place, I mean, they took us down into the caves where we were wandering around forever, and they had where Napoleon hid his wine. I mean, it was just, again, an exquisite, mind-blowing experience. And as we were leaving out of there, we bought a bottle of champagne to enjoy later. Our driver was so kind that he was like, ladies, would you like to open your bottle of champagne? I'll get you a couple of glasses. I'll take you for a sunset tour, driving through the vines in the countryside. You can enjoy your champagne before we head back to Paris. Yeah, of course we would. So he takes us out into the middle of the fields, driving us around and explaining to us the different age of what was growing. And we watched the sunset, and we got out and walked around and felt the earth. And, it was amazing. Wonderful. On the way back to Paris, he asks us, hey, I can take the freeway the way that we can, or we can take the back routes. Take the back routes. This is a day to linger, we didn't want to let it go. So we're driving back to Paris. We have we've had a tremendous day, a beautiful day, a dreamy day. And as we're heading back to Paris, we're communicating with our spouses, and they share that that evening they had a private cocktail party planned for their conference in the Louvre. Yeah, they had rented out the entire Louvre for them to have a private cocktail party in. They had unfettered free access to the Louvre for like 4 hours that evening. So of course, my friend Alana and I are like, we're coming. And I'm like, girl, you can't come, ladies, because this is part of the conference. You're blah, blah, blah. No, we're coming. So we work magic, ends up that we get our lovely passes and we're able to join them. So now we get back from this drive. We've already had a mind-blowing day. We get into the hotel, we change, and we get ready to walk down the street. Now, for anyone that's been to Paris and anyone that's been to the Louvre, you have to appreciate this. Simply the fact that we walked down the street and just walked in the door. Because generally, for tourists, going into the Louvre, it depends on when you go, but I mean, it's usually a wait that is blocks long, hours long to get in, and then you walk around the Louvre with the thousands of your best friends, and the Mona Lisa is generally so far away that you can barely see it, right? But we didn't have that. We got to walk through the door, and the center of the Louvre is, I think you've probably seen it in movies where it's the glass triangle. Well, underneath that is where the cocktail party was. I mean, our minds are like, this is the most amazing thing ever. There's live music and champagne, and you're able to just literally, we have unfettered access to freely wander around the Louvre all you wanted. So we did, of course. It was, I mean, and we really took our time with it and marveled at some of the art that you just can't come close to when it's open to the public. Oops, I got so excited I dropped something. But it was, again, the whole day culminating into having a private cocktail party in the Louvre. The best part of this is as we're wrapping up the day, a bunch of friends are getting together for dinner after this event, because, that's what you do. You go to dinner at midnight. And we joined up with friends, and we're telling them about our day. And everyone's, sharing different stories of whatever their day was, and it was great. And as we're doing this, we have one of the friends is kept calling all of our phones, and we were thinking that she was trying to figure out where we were, so that she could join us. So we, would answer the phone. We could barely hear, and we'd hear her say something to the effect of like, "I'm stuck in the Louvre," and we'd laugh and tell her, "This is where we're at. Come and join us." Right? It turns out our friend got locked into the Louvre at the end of this event because she was so enthralled by some wing of art that she did not realize that they were closing, and they did not realize she was still inside. The poor woman ended up climbing one of those like wrought fences in the museum, trying to get to the camera to be like, "Let me out." Isn't that crazy? She eventually joined us, shared that wonderful story, which was the cap to the day. Now that you hear this, is this not just a fantastical story? It's so amazing to be so grown, and black car service to champagne, have this lovely gentleman take time out of his day and take us through this beautiful historic tour, and the lovely stories he told us, and the lunch was exquisite, and then to cap it all off with a private party at the Louvre. Wow. So happy I returned to Paris. Well, thank you for hanging out with me for story time. I look forward to our next adventure.